So I just want to take it a step back here. When we were in this step, what we're trying to do is we're trying to factor. So we've established that we're trying to factor, and we're trying to factor as many terms that are common to both terms here, to the two terms we've highlighted. And so we see that there are at least two 2's in both these terms, and so we factor out two 2's, which can be written as square. And that's good for us because this is a square root, and if you have a square and a square root, they sort of just cancel out, but we'll see that at the very end. So if I pull out two 2's from the two terms, what I'm left with is, so I take out two 2's from here, and then I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. And instead of writing that as 2 to the 4, I'd rather write that as 4 squared, because like we said, square root and the 2's cancel, so the 2 in the power. So 4 squared, and then what am I left with here in this term? I've taken out two 2's, so I'm left with 3 squared. So everything is looking good, everything is in squares, and you have a square root on top of everything, so this might just work out without a calculator. So we have 1 over 2 squared still. Now you can't really factor anything out from these two terms. What you do in that case is you combine them, and then you factor out after simplifying the combination. So if you have to combine two fractions and the denominators aren't the same, you multiply the numerator and denominator by the denominator of the other term. So in this case, you would multiply 4 squared by 3 squared, and you multiply 1 squared by 3 squared, and that leave you with 3 squared over 4 squared times 3 squared plus, and you multiply 3 squared by 4 squared, you multiply the same here. So you're not changing the value, since you can do that. You're multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. So you're left with 4 squared here, and again a 4 squared and 3. And what we've done now is we've made the denominators the same, so we can combine them, and we get 1 over 2 squared times, I can just write them as a common denominator, and I'll write them in ascending value just make it easier to look at. And you have 3 squared plus 4 squared. You have these two on the top, and now you can combine those terms because the denominators are the same. And what is 3 square? 3 square is 9. What is 4 square? 4 square is 16. So you're left with 1 over 2 squared. 9 plus 16 is 25, and over 3 squared times 4 squared. And what is 25? 25 is just 5 squared. So I can take this one step further, and I can say this is 25 is 5 squared, and these are all being multiplied, so you can just write them all together in the denominator. 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, all being multiplied. The beauty of this is the square root would just disappear if you took out the squares off of each term, because they're being multiplied and divided. So this just, so you go out here, this just becomes 5 over 2 times 3 times 4. I hope that makes sense.